Question for you.
Yep.
What is a conditional form?
A conditional form. Now, I actually looked into this quite a bit. It's basically an if-then sentence, I think.
Would that be a conditional clause, perhaps?
I don't know. What's a clause?
As in Santa?
As in somebody of the clause. I literally, in my attempts to just do a simple task on my computer, opened like 9,000 things, and now I'm pissed off. So we're starting the episode mad for again.
Well, I'm mad as well because at least your
Really?
computer actually opens stuff right now. I'm trying to open a track list for this album we're reviewing, and my computer is coughing up a lung here. It might as well be put on an iron lung. It's just not cooperating. I mean, it finally pulled up, but it took him 45 seconds to pull up a Wikipedia page. You can't have that.
You know what my problem is right now? This is a classic. You know when you play Madden on a PlayStation and then you go and you play Madden on an Xbox and you're trying to throw it to the X receiver and you hit A?
Yeah, end up throwing it to the tight end who's not even open. Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm using keyboard shortcuts for Windows right now. Is why that just happened. I hit Command H to go to the history so I could pull up a Reddit thread about the title of this album, which we will review in about 2 seconds. And that spiraled into a whole other line of events that somehow ended up in JFK being assassinated. If you were to like follow it by, butterfly effect, like this event influenced that event.
I did not think it was going there, but that's where we ended up. You never know what you're going to get.
We just start going one direction. You don't know where it's going to go, By the end of this album, we could be reviewing the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. You never know.
2 really fucking long albums, Melancholy, Infinite Sadness, and A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships, Part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
So what's the difference between is it just a double album if they decide to call it a double album? Because the Notes on a Conditional Form is technically not a double album, but it's just because they just decided to not split it, I guess. Whereas, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, they were obviously like, oh, we're just going to cut this thing right down the middle and call it a double album.
You know how all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares?
Yes.
All double albums are long albums, but not all long albums are double albums. I think with a double album, it's very similar to what did that senator say, or like politician? I don't know where they were, but someone famously said, like, regarding porn, I can't define porn, but I know it when I see it. I can't define what a double album is, but I know a double album when I see a double album. This is not a double album. This is just a really long album.
Well, likewise, there's the EP situation in which, like, you have like Kanye West released a 7-song album, but then like Coldplay released a 7-song EP, and it's like we just don't draw the line anywhere anymore.
It's just
my rule of thumb was 10. Like it had to be 10. If you didn't get to 10, it wasn't an album. And if it was like an EP, I was thinking more in like the 4 or 5 range. But then
old albums on vinyl, it's like they have 2 sides to it. Could that be considered just a really short double album? I don't know, Skip.
So I've got a full answer for the conditional form thing. Well, there are two things. One, and I feel like this is more likely, that it's like some existential book about modern society that
because of course it is
that one Matthew Healy could read, and then there's also this person I think explained it in a way that is more better than just the definition. Honestly, could be way off, but spitballing. A conditioned form, sounds like when you get given a guarantee if you complete another set of steps beforehand, and it's in writing, then as an agreement. So with the whole Save the World binge they're on at the minute, it could be like the conditional form is Save the World, the climate. We'll give you this
give you an album if you save the world.
The songs will be the notes on the conditional form. So
notes as if they're referring to a conditional, yes.
Yeah, so these are their notes on the conditional form, and this album review that we're about to do is our notes on a conditional form. sticking with the theme of every time we review an
the episode
album.
Notes on a Conditional form.
Because when we reviewed their last album, the episode title was "A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships."
No, it was a brief inquiry into online podcasts. That's what it was.
Oh yeah. Because you titled it. So you
I was considering naming this episode "Pods on a Conditional Form" or "Notes on a Conditional Pod," but I like notes on a conditional. Yeah.
Which is funny because you go back to our review for their second album, which I believe we titled "I Like It When You Sleep, for You Are So Beautiful Yet So Unaware That You're Listening to a Podcast Right Now," and that two white dudes are talking about you somewhere.
And our review on the first podcast was just called "The Podcast." Actually, our first review on their self-titled album, it was just called "Podcast AF." That was the name of the episode.
It was just blank. We left the episode blank and no one could ever find it. So,
all right, we've exhausted this bit. I think it was a good bit, but it was short.
I for one, I would like to track by track this album, and
yeah,
we'll bounce around a little. But I think it is logical to start with the first song on the album, and tell me what you think of the fact that so it's titled "The 1975" as the first album or first song on all of their albums are, except this time they ditched the fellatio poetry that was sort of just remixed into different genres of music the last three albums.
And we'll get into that later on. That will be a quick visitation. I got a bone to pick with Matty Healy later on in this review. That's a tease right there. But yeah, we could start with this.
Well, if you're going to say the fact that they ditched that and you don't like it, then we could just do that right now because that's what I'm going to say.
Well, okay. Well, here's the thing, we will get back to that point that you just made because I agree. And all in all, the message of saving the world, right? Like, taking hardcore steps now to fix it. I agree, like with what Greta's saying and what the 1975 is saying there. If you're privy to the 1975, if you kept up with it, you know that this was one of, if not the very first thing from the new album that they released. They released this back in like July. This has been the strangest.
Yeah, they released this song in July. It was the fifth single that they released, I think.
Oh,
actually, it might have been the 13th single they released, but it was released like 3 years ago.
I thought it was released early on.
The song actually came out before their debut album.
This song definitely came out before People, which I remember that being the first big song.
So People, I don't remember the exact release date, but I do recall driving home from Gillette very late one night, blasting People in the car with the windows down, and I'm pretty sure it was like kind of warm, which I had the windows out, so it like must have been September. I'm not sure, because that same week, a band I like very much called Grayscale released a song that sounded like, and they're a pop punk band, sounded like it should have been a 1975 song, and the 1975 released a song that should have come from a punk band.
Yeah.
So I believe it was sometime in September.
This was the first thing they released from it, and I listened to it the first time in July, and I remember expected to go down soft. I remember I was imagining that, and then it's just Greta Thunberg right in my. Is that how you say your last name? Thunberg. Greta, just simple enough. Her,
Thornberry.
Talking Eliza Thornberry talking into my ear. Nigel Thornberry also adding into it, just saying how the world is going to die and there's nothing we could do about it unless we go balls to the wall. Now, again, I agree with it, but even starting with the first
we are right now in the beginning of a climate and ecological crisis.
Yeah, kippos.
I want you to call it what it is. An emergency.
Everything. Homo sapiens up to blimey, kippers. Every listen through this album, including the first one, like on Friday, I've just skipped the intro because I don't want to get myself too down. Like I know that we're in an issue. Like I'm not ignoring the issue. I'm ignoring the song. I understand that like the world is going to be in a flame in like 2 years. I get it. I understand. I don't want to be bummed out on my Friday. You know what I mean? Like it's whether I'm just trying to get through this whole thing Nothing against Greta, nothing
Climate
against
change.
1935.
Climate change will wait until Monday to end the world.
When I'm in a good mood to be really bummed out, if I need to be kind of humbled, leveled out, maybe I'll put it back on. But ever since this album dropped, like from start to finish, I'm just like, I don't feel like listening to this right now because I'm just gonna like, I'm just gonna walk outside and like stare at the sun and blind myself because I don't want to see the world die.
Unless I'm trying to get like the full front to back experience, then this is a skip for me. But there are two schools of thought here, and I'm going to come back to that phrase a lot on this album. One school of thought is like the last lyric in it. She says it is time to rebel, like it's time for civil disobedience. Like I know changing the name of the first song of an album by a pop band is not exactly the same thing as civil disobedience, but like isn't that sort of what they're like? The fact that they did that is sort of like the theme of that song,
right?
Like I don't know, but I think you could have stuck this at the end of the album too, because I liked how they did.
I don't know about the end.
Cool.
I think
that was a cool artistic thing that they did with having the same lyrics as the song as the first song on all their albums. But like you said, I'm probably when I listen to this album, there's like, well, first off, I don't think this album's good enough to be a front to back. I'm gonna listen to all 22 songs album, or the whole thing even album, but. Unless I'm doing that, like, there's really no circumstance in which I'm going to listen to a 6-minute monologue about
how anything. We're all going to be dead.
Right? Yeah, not even this, like about anything. It could be like a 6-minute monologue about like the writing of the REM song "Shiny Happy People," and I'm not going to listen to it. Like, it's got nothing to do with the mood of it. I just don't want a 6-minute monologue. Now, not
for nothing. Is there even 6 minutes to go into that song? It seems pretty straightforward.
I think VH1 is actually going to put out like a 11-part documentary about the writing and recording of "Shiny Happy People." The last glimmer.
Michael Stipe's like, I took that personally.
One episode for each verse.
Automatic for the people, huh? I had no problem with automatic for the people.
Do you remember now? How do you feel about the transition though from if you were listening to that song, the way it goes into People?
You could transition any song into People. You could transition church music into that, and it would go. People, I have vastly turned on for the better on that song. I really like that song at this point. When it first dropped, I was like, oh Lord, like the screenshot from SpongeBob where it's Patrick's fake mom goes, Marty, I'm scared. Like that's the exact feeling when I heard that song for the first couple times. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
I definitely want to listen to this song more, like with the lyrics up and get the lyrics down, so that as I'm like burning down the sky, what's the killer's lyric? As I'm burning down the highway skylines
on the back of a hurricane,
on the back of a hurricane, screaming, blasting people by the 1975. I want to scream the words with it. It reminds me a lot of Love It If We Made It, though. How I was at first I was like kind of on it, and then when I like kind of sat down and listened to it more, I was like, this song fucking bangs. And before I knew it, I was in a field next to Kyrie Irving screaming the lyrics of the song last summer.
True.
Yeah. But I think it's like, so like when he says like, well, my generation want to fuck Barack Obama, like
living in a sauna and legal marijuana. Yeah, I was gonna say
that might be low key. That might be a Halsey jab right there. Ex-girlfriend, legal marijuana in the song New Americana.
Halsey and Matty Healy dated?
Yes.
What?
That is wait, you didn't know that? The Halsey song Colors is about Matt Healy.
Did not news to me.
Really?
Wow. When did they date?
Like before her first album came out, I think.
Okay.
Because that song's on her first album, so
I mean, she's only like our age, and Matty Healy is. How old's Matty Healy?
I feel like he's not terribly old. He's like 28, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh. No, he's 29, I think. Because remember, I predicted for years that he was going to be in the 27 club.
Well, he's not.
As bad as that is.
Yeah, no comment on that. Matty Healy's 31.
What?
Matty Healy's 31.
Wait, so how long ago was I saying he'd be in the 27 club? Wow, that was a while ago then.
Halsey is how old?
She's like 24.
25? Play a little close there, Matty. Uh,
Want to know something better
uh,
than? Want to know something older than 25? 26.
20.
Next point on this album: too many instrumentals.
Yeah, they could have done a lot better. Listen, and maybe just preface everything else by saying, in general, I did like the album. Certainly
Yeah,
not
I meant
perfect.
to lead with that. Actually, I was going to say I was going to
Yeah, we
lead by
probably
saying,
should have done that before.
did you like it?
I did. I liked it out of 10. I liked it.
Liked it out of 10. Well, liked it out of 11. It's bat scale. This,
I was going to say, what's the bat scale at? I was going to bring that up later.
I think it's at 11 these days.
We're settling at 11?
I think so, yeah.
Fair enough.
I had to do some fudging with the anime voices, but we're there.
I certainly did like the album. Way too many instrumentals. I agree. I don't
instrumentals and interludes. It's like we don't need 1,000 of them. Although I do somewhat appreciate them putting them separate. Like if they were like, for example, if they put the end parentheses music for Cars and then they just attached it to the beginning of Frail State of Mind, I probably would hate that more. Because then, like, if you want to listen to Frail State of Mind, the track always comes up with an instrumental or the instrumental before it. So, but it's like frail state of mind.
Frail straight of kind. Frail strafe of kind. Yeah.
Like that one is like it's a burger of like there's an instrumental on either side of it. It's like we don't
Free State of Jones.
I'm gonna need a second.
That one. Well, time McConaughey joke for you. I haven't even seen that movie. I
haven't either.
I actually heard it's pretty good. So.
Remember the photo? I think Ryan Russillo tweeted it of Gunnar I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I've heard so many people butcher the name that I don't even remember how to pronounce anymore. I think it's like Olszewski. There was the photo of him in the locker room with he had jorts and a wife beater on after a game with a Bass Pro Shops hat on. And it just the caption was just something like I forgot the whole thing, but the punchline was just Free State of Jones. Classic.
Anyways, Frail State of Mind.
Frail State of Mind is I wrote down 2 times 2 times 2 because it is 2 time part 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah,
I don't think so. You made the point at the beginning. You said that this album is A Brief Inquiry Part 2. I kind of disagree with that. I don't think, because I don't think this album's nearly as good as that. One thing I will say about this album is I don't think there is any song on this album that is as good. Say you combined the 2 albums into one and you had to rank all the songs between the 2 albums. I think the top 5 or 6 songs would all be from A Brief Inquiry.
Well, first of all, I say that it's like the one before, A Brief Inquiry, because it's part of that Music for Cars era. So it's kind of almost like a companion sister album, I feel. Second of all, there are some songs that sound, extremely similar to stuff that they've done before, especially on Brief Inquiry. This being one of them, it does sound a little bit like 2 Time. It gives some vibes to that. And there's also kind of, what's the, some dance hall vibes on there, which, 2 Time is easily a dance hall inspired song. So there are some similarities between the 2 albums.
I don't think there's any song on here that's like 2 Time though. There's no song that
there's no song as good as 2 Time. I can tell you that.
Well, yeah, that's true. But there's no song that makes me move the way 2 Time. There are a couple songs on here later in the album that do get me going, but there's no song that just makes me feel that feeling of euphoria that 2 Time makes me feel. I feel like Sammy Watkins when I listen to that song. I'm just floating through the astral plane.
astral plane. Well, actually, that episode has never been released yet because it just now is getting onto YouTube to stream. I don't know what kind of operation StreamYard's running, but get it together. We should just make this a double episode.
Free State of Jones Yard. Double episode, yeah. Except we should put this on the front half. Yes, and then which will make no sense at all, but that's fine.
Yeah, and we the second half of the album, it's we're preferencing how we're excited for this album on the next episode that you already heard. This is a good song. Again, when I first heard it, I think it actually dropped the same day as Orphans and Aberesque from Coldplay. So this was like the tertiary song that I was excited to listen to. I listened. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. But I'm actually going to go back to Orphans now, if you don't mind, Maddie and the boys. Thanks very much. Another song that has grown on me again, and I think this goes for a lot of the songs on this album. It's good, not great. I know I'm not a music expert here. I'm not, a critically, this world-renowned critic. But, I know a good song when I hear one. It's full of good songs, not great songs. The valleys are much lower than Brief Inquiry, which I feel like we're going to keep comparing it to just because they were so close and part of that Music for Cars era that just wrapped up. And there are certainly some peaks, but for the most part, it's a lot of good, not great. And Frail State of Mind, I think, definitely falls into that category. I don't dislike the song, but it's not elite by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm. And where are you? So then we've got another instrumental streaming.
It's a long intro into the birthday party, and I love the birthday party. That's actually one of the highlights of the album.
Yeah, so the birthday party, that was the 15th single they released from the album. What do you think of the birthday party?
I think it's great. I love the percussions on it. Have you ever seen the music video for this?
I haven't.
Extremely very, very weird. Very weird. But no, they're in their bag here. I think this is like, if they apply themselves on every song like they do on this song, then they pump out an absolute classic. And this is one of, if not maybe the peak of the album. I love this song.
I do like the song a lot. A couple notes I have on this. Some of my notes on this note on a conditional form.
After I just said I didn't love too many songs. I just said I loved a song. By the way, yeah.
The Maddie. So obviously, like all of their songs are about his drug use. Pretty much all of them. But this one I was reading about, and it kind of stands out because there's like a specific story that it's referring to, whereas the rest of them are just more of like general. Like we aren't really sure. Like maybe if there's a story, we don't know it's real. But this one, it's like it's almost told in the song because he's saying like he says Greg once, which is I think that's another dude in the band, right?
Greg is it's not.
I believe so. But then it also is sort of like a commentary on like the Me Too era because it has the whole thing about Pine Grove in it. I don't know if you know Pine Grove or not, but Pine Grove is like a pop punk band. Not like super. They're like kind of like they're like more like of an acoustic like pop punk band. But they had one of my roommates loves them, and I don't know if he loves them anymore. But they had one of them had like an accusation made against him, and in his response to the accusation, he for some reason decided to say that when he's on stage, he can tell which girls in the crowd want to sleep with him by the way they watch him.
Yuck.
Which is like probably it's like when Papa John was apologizing and said the N-word.
Is it is it the same thing?
No, it's not the same. It's not the same thing, but you get what I mean. It's like just digging yourself.
Do I get what you mean?
Well, did you see the dude? I forget what company it is, but there was some banking company like a week ago who in the conference call for this dude talking about like how badly they went under or something, he compared himself to Jesus.
Sacrificing himself.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line is you don't want to say something like that in an apology, whatever. But obviously, everyone took this lyric as this is Maddie expressing his opinion on this situation and them taking shots at Pine Grove. But then Maddie comes so far out of his way to say that that's not what it is, and that he even talked to the Pine Grove singer about it before he released the song, which I don't know. I feel like people have good intentions with stuff like that maybe, but it's like so naive to think people aren't going to think that it's an attack on him though, no matter how many times you say it. Because it's like I had to dig to find an interview, and before today I didn't know that he came out and said all that stuff.
I didn't know any of this.
I assumed it was shots fired at Pine Grove. But I don't know, when people do that, it's like you almost have to know like what you're getting into with just how people are going to perceive something like that, because no matter what your intention was with it or anything, like that's just the way it's going to happen.
For someone who's extremely online, like Matty Healy, I mean, the music video for this is full of memes. I don't get what they're trying to say with it. Maybe I should look into that more. Like I should have looked into the Pine Grove stuff. But for someone who's extremely online, like him, and let's just say technology, am I right? You should know that people.
One could say he's online all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Teaser. The only other note I have on this song though is there's this whole bit in the third verse about like him and his girlfriend both being uncomfortable with watching each other pee. Are you or not watching each other, but like like the sound of it being in the other room? Like, are you? So my question for you is that something you are comfortable with? Because as you know, I've had a bout with public restrooms in my day. I generally do not like to hear. I do not like people like listening in on my bowel movements or whatever the front kind is called.
Bowel movements are a little bit more uncomfortable, but I don't. If it's Missimo Pena, I don't care one way or the other. It doesn't bother me.
I remember one time my brother was like seeing a girl and they like weren't at the phase yet when he could fart in front of her, and he went to the bathroom and the walls were so thin, and when he came back in, like, so he literally just went in and just friggin' farted his brains out, and then when he came back in, he was just like, "Yeah, I could hear you. I could hear all of that."
Did I tell you what happened?
It's brutal.
When we saw Last Jedi?
No.
We were at Missimo Pena's Nana's house, and I had to go number 2, and the porcelain did not help. There was a sound effect. It sounded worse than it actually was.
Oh, those are the worst.
It sounded worse than it actually was. It was okay. It wasn't disrespectful or anything like that. It was fine. But I opened the door. I was like, I really hope someone didn't hear that. And Missimo Pena, the second I opened the door, goes, "You okay?" And I'm like, no.
Oh, no. It's the worst.
They heard it.
All right. Anyways, moving on. Couple songs I really don't care about.
Yeah,
also,
I know.
So one of my larger points
it's the
here.
Worst song on the album. But
so 15 songs were on A Brief Inquiry. At the time, I said we could get that number down to 12. This one has 22, and realistically, this could be. And this is another two schools of thought exercise here, because realistically, you have like, if you had 11 songs on this album, 11 or 12. Don't include the instrumental or the interludes, get rid of them, whatever. I don't care about those. You could legitimately have like an A album here.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't be an A plus because A Brief Inquiry is an A plus album. You could legitimately have like a perfect-ish, maybe not all the songs are good enough to say that, but like 11 or 12 songs. Instead we have 22, and there's a lot of fluff. There is a lot of fluff here.
Yeah, I know. Sounds like something that Radiohead left on the chopping block on Amnesiac. Like,
yeah, right, see, like, right we don't need, like, yeah, I know. I don't need, yeah, I know. That song sucks. Like, it just does.
It's nothing. Then Before She Goes sounds like something Oasis would leave on the chopping block during, like, Definitely Maybe. Like,
no, right, Oasis leaves the songs that are better than every song on the album on the chopping block, and then they release all of them on one album that like might be better than all of their normal.
I'll defer to you on the Oasis stuff. You defer to me on the radio stuff.
Then Because She Goes is like a fine song, but if we were like to get nitpicky with it, like I'd probably give it the boot.
It's fine. Question mark,
but I think the next song is where we hit like there's a nice little run here that essentially I would say goes all the way to the end of the album except for like a couple songs, but even those songs have some redeemable qualities to them. But Jesus Christ 2005, God Bless America, love it.
Absurd title, first of all, for a song.
Yeah, it sounds like that 30 Seconds to Mars album that came out like a couple of years ago. Although that might have been in a dream. It just sounds like something Jared Leto would name. Jesus Christ 2005, God Bless Mickey Mouse, McDonald Land, Grimace America.
you know when like you really enjoy something, but you know that it has its critics, and you're like, well, it's not always true, blah, 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 blah. And then the thing you like does the exact thing that people criticize it for, and you're like, you're not making it easy for me to defend you. The biggest criticism I've noticed with the 1975, and sometimes it's warranted, but it's also why a lot of people like myself like them, they're very self-indulgent. They are very, like, to quote DJ Bean talking about Brandon Flowers, they sometimes like to suck their own dick. And that's kind of why we like the 1975, though, right? They're this Maximus, they do things over the top. That's why you like them, right? It doesn't always work out. They definitely have some duds of songs. They don't hit every single time, but it's what makes them them. And titling a song "Jesus Christ 2005, God Bless America" is Exhibit A of that. I'm like, dude, like, just name it like "I Love You" or something. That I don't know, dude.
But otherwise, good song. Oh, do you know that this is their first ever? You know that they've never had a lyrical feature on a song until that song.
I guess,
And obviously that doesn't really include Greta Thunberg doing spoken word.
I guess it doesn't. I never really thought about it, but when you say it out loud, yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, which is, I don't know.
This is cool, a good song.
Nice fun fact there for you guys listening at home.
Yeah, I do like this song.
Yeah, that's a good one. Roadkill
Phoebe
is
Bridgers
also
on the feature, by the way.
Yes, Phoebe. Ooh, and if you haven't listened to Phoebe Bridgers, listen to Phoebe Bridgers because she is good. She also has a side project called Boy Genius with a couple other of those badass female rockers, and it's really good. They have a song. It's called "Me and My Dog." That is awesome. You should listen to her. Julian Baker's the other girl with her, and there's another girl too. They also have a live cover of "Read My Mind" by the Killers. Yeah, it's a cool little thing there. Cool little thing. Roadkill actually kicks off one of the biggest things that happens on the second half of the album, which this actually never happened in music before until in 2015 when Mike Posner referenced a song that he had written 10 years ago, and it just turned music on its head forever. They actually reference robbers on this song when they say, "If you don't eat, then you'll never grow," which is like similar to a robbers lyric. So it's just good that we're able to. It's almost like a crossover hit in that sense because Mike Posner did it first in 2015, and then now the 1975 is doing it. So
Mike Posner, everyone, in 2 years, Matty Healy's going to walk across America, then get bit by a snake. Everyone knows it. Matty drops a big time F-bomb on this track. Like,
oh yeah,
second line in. I was like, do we need to bring in the detail there, Matty? Well, they did call me that. Like, yeah, okay, but whatever.
But Roadkill's kind of like, I don't really. It's kind of the British accent kind of makes it hard to decipher, and sometimes they use British slang, which also makes things hard to decipher. But there's like he says, I feel up my tucked up erection, which maybe this is the 1950s. Maybe this is just them realizing their fan base is growing older, and they're like, all right, how do we get to the 13-year-olds again? We're like, boom, tucked up erection. We're like, wait, that's the wrong. We want the females this time.
Boners, Johnson. That's it. You got it. You're a genius. That's why we pay you to make the big bucks.
If they really wanted to reach that, they'd do like a Fortnite song. They want to get that age group.
Debut the album on Fortnite.
Fellas, men, what excuse do you have to not look like this? That's the big meme out there today. You see that one?
Yeah, I got to do one with Wallace Shawn.
My answer to that was Halo 3. That's why I don't look like that.
Shout out to Mr. Halo for thanking the vets and the troops.
Yes. That's almost like when Smash Mouth wished Carrie did Carrie Fisher. Well, no, first I did Carrie Fisher's death with Smash Mouth logos, and then Smash Mouth stole my idea. They retweeted that, then unretweeted it, made their own, and then tweeted it.
Cowards. Well, at least come onto the podcast and discuss. I tweeted it out, but it's worth saying again. Deafening silence from Captain Price and Sora from Kingdom Hearts for not thanking the troops. I mean, Master Chief did it.
Oh God.
Yeah, makes you think. I'm a PlayStation guy, but that's a big loss for the PlayStation community. Xbox got that massive dub, bruv.
All right, me and you, what we're doing right now, together,
doing a podcast, talking about songs. What a delightful tune this is.
This is a fun. This is like there's some. It's kind of it's a saddish song, but it's like it's fun and it's upbeat. It's just like, but it's not like over the top sad though. It's not like somebody died or something. It's just like, oh, I kind of like this girl.
It's sincere.
It's an innocent. It's sincere and it's an innocent little upbeat song, and I like it.
What's your favorite lyric on the album, and why is it "We went to Winter Wonderland and it was shit, but we were happy"?
It's not that. I actually did see something. I looked into that earlier, and that's like a thing, I guess, in the UK. Like they have a thing called Winter Wonderland. It's, I don't know.
And it was shit.
I actually do have a favorite lyric on the album, and it's not till it is in.
Is the one right before it where he talks about doing the nappies? Nappies.
Actually, no, we just did it. It was the one about flipping your erection into your shorts when you're 13. 13.
Hey now.
I was doing that today. There was a quarantine has me like the wind shifted. What can you expect in these times?
In these uncertain times.
Me and You Together song. I think that was the 17th single they released from the album.
I was going to say 24th.
Yeah, that was a good one. There's only 22 songs on the album, so
it's only 22.
Although they released the Greta Thunberg Trap remix as a separate single. You know, sometimes remixes will be released as singles as well.
If your metro don't trust you, I'm going to shoot you.
The next song we can fire that one straight into Alpha Centauri. I think there's something you should know.
I disagree. I think it's fine.
Do not. But if we're like, all right, if it's it doesn't hit the bar for me.
If we're making our album cuts, then yeah, it probably doesn't make it. But
doesn't make it. Also, references somebody else. So it's weird how Mike Posner he really just changed music forever when he did that in 2015.
You think about musical pioneers, it goes Beethoven, the Beatles, Ween, and then Mike Posner.
Closing Time by Semisonic.
The Onion article. What did they give it? A 6.4, I think.
Yeah.
The Onion.
No,
Pitchfork.
Pitchfork gives music a 6.4.
6.8.
They specifically referenced Closing Time by Semisonic as a high point or something.
This is one of the. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, Twitter had a 2-day stretch of where everyone was just bringing up their favorite Onion article headlines. My personal favorite is a Little League pitcher just getting fucking shelled out there. That's my all-time favorite. But this entire article is amazing. I just want to quote the exact line. It's amazing. Coming in at an exhausting 7,000 years long, the 1975 has entered the chat. Music is weighed down by a few too many mid-tempo tunes, notably Liebenstraum number 3 in A flat by Franz Liszt and Closing Time by 90s old group Semisonic.
Oh God. I loved the Onion's Biden coverage. I don't think I ever once read one of the stories, but the headlines are all just like White House infested with bed bugs after Biden brings in recliner off the curb.
It was free, he said.
That's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down.
No, yeah, if we're doing our cuts, I don't think this makes it, but I think there's something you should know. The next song, though.
The next song, I would probably say, is my second favorite on the entire album.
It's up there.
And it is.
The more I talk about it, maybe the more I'm liking this album, the more I'm talking about it out loud. Maybe I was a little too hasty. But it's also
my favorite Paul Williams song ever written.
Yeah, I saw you tweet on that. It does.
Nothing revealed, everything denied. Phenomenal song. Also fits, I don't know if you noticed this, but the very first lyric, or the second lyric, he says, "I never fucked in a car," which is a reference to their song Love It If We Made It. And then also, I think they do that in Chocolate, too. There's something about fucking in a car. Her car smells like
and I was going to say, and that kind of goes back to the... it goes back to the intro. That when I was talking about the intro, how I had a bone to pick with Matty Healy, here's the bone. Matty Healy, you goddamn liar. For 3 albums, you've been saying Go Down Soft Sound, Midnight, Card Lights, and talking about how you're getting that sloppy toppy, and you never got it. Liar.
But sloppy toppy. But furthermore, this also harkens back to in 2015 when Mike Posner referenced a song that he wrote 10 years prior in I Took a Pill in Ibiza, referencing Cooler Than Me.
I didn't take a pill in Ibiza, I was 9.
Nothing Revealed, Everything Denied, though. Definitely my number 2, which leads to my number 1, Tonight, I Wish I Was Your Boy.
That's your number 1.
That is my number 1. As of right now, it's my number 1. But the thing is, I need to get past the album has been out for 6 days, and I'm going to offer the alternative opinion of only picking songs that weren't released as singles, because this was actually the only song on the album that wasn't released as a single. Fun fact. So nobody heard this one until the album came out. All 21 other tracks. Like, you should have seen, dude, Twitter blew up when they released Streaming Instrumental as the lead single of the album.
Shiny Collarbone.
They debuted it live on BBC Radio 1.
Jimmy Fallon introduced them as they were getting ready to do The End, Music for Cars. Jimmy Fallon just laughing nonstop. No, this is definitely up there. I do like this song a lot, and I love that. Like, this is a nice little, like, kind of like a bob your head kind of song. Like, here's your kind of dancing song for you. It's not as fast dancing, but
this is just such like a spin in a circle with your arms
I
out.
wish I was your boy.
And also, I don't know if you notice on this song, but there's a lyric that says, "Give yourself a new name," which is a reference to a song on their previous album, "Give Yourself a Try,"
which in itself is a reference to Mike
would not have happened had Mike Posner not done this in 2015.
It's gonna get funnier and funnier.
Say
you're gonna do this after. You're gonna do this after every song, and after a while, it's gonna be, this isn't funny anymore, John. Stop with the Mike Posner bit. And then towards the end of the album, you're gonna still be doing it.
Actually, I actually have. I don't think I have any. I don't think I have any other of those noted for the rest of the album. So I guess it'd be time to move on. Another song that I don't think we need on the album, "Shiny Collarbone."
Keep it. Yeah, I do appreciate how they tried to do a little something with it. I'll always credit an artist or a band for trying to step out of their comfort zone, but this is. I think there's a song later in the album that does this. What they're maybe trying to do better later on. I don't think they hit it here. I think they hit it later on in the album, though, and that's a tease.
Okay. Well, so the next song on the album, is this your number one? If you're too shy, let me know.
Yes. This is the best song on the album, and this is upper echelon 1975 song.
Really?
Yeah, it's Hard Out, which is already an amazing song, but it's better. If Hard Out is Mew, this is Mewtwo. I'm not a huge Pokemon fan. Does that make sense? Who's better, Mew or Mewtwo?
Repeat the analogy.
Okay. Hard Out is to Mew, as If You're Too Shy, Let Me Know is to Mewtwo.
Yeah, sure. I guess that makes sense. But
who's better, Mew or Mewtwo?
Well, there's a different strategy involved, I believe. With
who's better?
Mewtwo.
Come on.
Well, there
power
are
power rankings.
Well, you see, Mewtwo was genetically engineered in a lab, and its DNA was taken from Mew 1. So Mewtwo is in itself a reference to Mew, which would not have happened without
I don't know if you know this.
Mike Posner's 2015 song, "I Took a Pill in Ibiza," which references a song from 10 years ago prior.
Everyone's turning the podcast off right now.
You laid me up. I was like Jordan. You were like Horace Grant.
I don't know why, but I genuinely was not expecting that.
You're not a Pokemon guy, so you don't get it. No, this song's I'd say this is my number 3 right now. So if you recall my arc, which I believe caused the brief end of this podcast for several months, was when I told you. Actually, you never posted this episode, I think, but was when I came clean to you about how it's not living if it's not with you. Me not thinking it is the best song or the second best song on A Brief Inquiry. Now, this was sort of I had a similar arc with this, except it happened in like 5 days as opposed to like 7 months. But I don't know. I just I'm all in on Tonight. I Wish I Was Your Boy as my favorite, and Nothing Revealed, Everything Denied. But that could change. Again, right now, I'm still doing the douche. I don't want to pick a song that was released as one of the 21 singles off this album. So that's why I haven't gone with that yet.
Fair enough. But this is a big time dance song for you.
But a big also I don't need the 55 second intro to If You're Too Shy, Let Me Know.
Well, there's a single version of it too where it just goes right into it.
I know there is. No, I know.
For impatient fuckers like you.
My favorite lyric is on the next song, Playing on My Mind. And the lyric is, "Let's find something to watch, then watch our phones half the time." Oof.
Ooh.
I love that. I love that because I will. I don't know if I've done this around you or not, but I will make this joke a lot if I'm like at a bar or something or sitting at a table and like everyone has their phones out. I'll always say, "Quick, everyone, take out your phone," and then it makes people feel really bad because they'll be like, "Oh," like, but then I become the bad guy. I think when I do that. So Maybe I should do that less. But that drives me nuts. It is one of everyone does it. And it's not. I'm not saying I don't do that, but like whatever.
Yeah.
Playing on my mind. Your thoughts?
It's like Black Mirror, the song right there that you're referencing. No, I like it. It's when they do this pretty well too when they're not bringing out their their papas. They do acoustic pretty well. This isn't their best example of an acoustic song. I would still say "Be My Mistake" is that's probably their best acoustic song. I do like this tune though. I think it might be on like the cusp if we're doing cuts. If we're doing like that 10 to 12 song cut thing. I don't love it, but I think it's pretty solid. And I think it's a pretty solid back half of the album song, if that makes sense, right? It's not gonna make or break the album, but it's a nice complimentary role piece. It's a Tony Kukoc, if we're gonna keep going with the Bulls, which is a reference to one of your jokes that you just made. And it was a self-reference to this own podcast, which would not have been possible.
Happened had Mike Posner not set the precedent.
Precisely.
In 2015 in the song "I Took a Pill in Ibiza." The next 3 songs I don't care about. I think Bagsy Not in Net is like kind of funny. It kind of reminds me of Digsy's Dinner by Oasis. It's just kind of they threw it on there and it's like clearly a joke. Like there's probably like an inside joke somewhere with like some dude they know, like Digsy's Dinner was with Oasis. Like I just don't really care about the next 3.
Having No Head and Bagsy Not in Net, I'm not a huge fan, especially Having No Head. That's just kind of a bliss song, and it's 6 minutes long. They need to cut that down. What Should I Say is one of the best songs on the album. I will say that is a must keep for me. I love that.
Really?
That is the song that they did better with what they were trying to do than Shiny Collarbone. I love that. The like the beat on that, the melody, it's great. It's not a crazy lyrical song. It's pretty straightforward, but I love the sound of it.
And so then that leaves us. We got 2 left here. Don't Worry. I was a little
love that song.
Yeah. So at first I was skeptical, and do you know what's going on with this song?
Not totally. No. It says Tim Healy here, who's Matty Healy's dad.
Yeah, him and his dad. Apparently, so his dad wrote this song when he was like 20 something years ago.
I can totally see that. Yeah,
and they put it on the album basically, and
that's
the whole
awesome.
Song is Matty and Tim singing. Matty and his father are singing.
I like it even more, and having like the auto tune as an instrument kind of thing that Kanye kind of really brought up like 10 years ago. I mean that, or maybe a little bit more than 10 years ago, but that's besides the point. I think that when you can do that thing where you basically make your voice an instrument with autotune and you make it work, it's awesome. I love it. And this is a elite song on this album. This is definitely one of the peaks. I love this song. Probably one of the best, maybe the best non-single. And I get that's not saying anything because there's only like 4 non-singles on this album. But still, I thought it was fantastic. And it's only 2:48, a little bit shorter, but it does exactly what it aimed to do. I thought it was awesome.
So I'd say of the I feel like we could get this down to like the length of Brief Inquiry. Like we really could. Like
30 minutes off of it. Cut a half hour.
That's not a big deal. Final song on the album. And my biggest question here for you is, do you think this, of all the songs in this album, do you think this was the song to end the album with? The song is called Guys. It was released as I believe it was the 14th single released from the album a couple weeks ago.
You said like 5 songs have been the 14th single.
I feel like I've been said a different number every time.
I think you keep saying 14. We'll run the tape back. We'll find it. We'll let the people decide.
So Guys is the ending final song on the album. Thoughts?
It's cool. It's about kind of like how the band started, and I do think it makes sense to end the album with it. Because A, what else would you have ended it with? B, where else would you have put this? A story about how the band started wouldn't have made sense to be in the middle of the album, right? And C, considering it's the end of this era, an era where they've gotten even more popular, in the mainstream. Well, maybe not the mainstream, but they've cultivated more of a following, and it's kind of retrospective looking back on it, the best days of their lives. That was the best thing that ever happened. Like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Maddie singing that. I think it makes sense to end the album with that, considering everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's almost like a love story to like just like his boys to the rest of the band. And, you know what fits. I want to dedicate
writing a love song to the fellas.
I want to dedicate this song to you guys. The moment that we started a podcast, it was the best thing that ever happened.
That means your life's been pretty shit, man, starting this podcast. Well, you know what, John?
I like it. I like it. It's a nice little ender for the album.
I actually got a song ready for you that I want to actually dedicate to you after going through this journey with you.
I took a pill in Ibiza to show Avicii I was cool.
Can you guess what band I have heard play that song live before?
I'm thinking. Is it a band you really like? Weezer. I swear to God, I on my granddad's grave, I was going to say Weezer at the start. So I wanted to just get the quick hint as a band you really like. That's such a fucking. They piss me off more by the day.
Weezer played "I Took a Pill in Ibiza." They didn't play anything off Pinkerton at that show.
They're such fucking nerds, dude. And I know they're supposed to be, but like they're fucking dorks. Could you just please play Pink Triangle or something?
By the way, did you see that Van Weezer was delayed due to COVID-19?
Oh,
if there was anything that didn't need to be delayed due to COVID-19, it is Van Weezer.
Oh my God, Van Weezer.
So we both did best song already. Yours was if you're too shy, let me know. Mine was Tonight. I wish it was your boy. How about your Rushmore?
Rushmore again, original idea. No other podcast has thought of this.
No one's ever done it before.
I would say my Mount Rushmore of songs on this album are "If You're Too Shy, Let Me Know," "Don't Worry," "Me and You Together" song, and I'm going through the list again. Not People. I like People. Not Frail State of Mind. Maybe The Birthday Party. Maybe Tonight I Wish I Was Your Boy. It's up there.
Okay, so you have like 7 songs.
I'm making a short list. No, what? Just to make it different. What should I say? I really like that song. So I'll go again. Just to review, I'll go. Don't Worry. What should I say? If You're Too Shy, and Me and You Together song.
Yeah, I'm definitely one for me. I said before was Tonight I Wish I Was Your Boy. Nothing Revealed, Everything Denied would be my 2. I'd say
another one. Honorable mention.
If You're Too Shy, Let Me Know is 3. Me and You Together is probably 4 for me there. And as every time we release an album, it's time to revisit the catalog of that band. So if you were to rank the 4 albums, where does this album go? What's your order?
I mean, number one, it's you're gonna agree with me. It's Brief Inquiry, and right. I think that's unless they do something completely mind-blowing, and I love Brief Inquiry. I would say more than most. I thought it was a fantastic album, and I thought it should have been nominated for Album of the Year at the Grammys. That's a whole different thing. It's going to be tough for them to top that. I'm not saying they can't. They're obviously talented enough, but it's just going to be hard to do, and it will be hard to see myself budging on that. So that's their number one. The self-titled album, I think, is 2. Just kind of how they started. There's so many iconic songs on that, and really established their, presence. I can talk in generalities all day. It's a great album. It has so many freaking good songs on it. I know Chocolate's overplayed. Chocolate's a great song. The City, Money's a great song. Sex is a great song.
Chocolate,
Roberts,
I always Chocolate is what got me into this band.
Settle Down. Settle Down's a great song. It has so many good songs.
I think Settle Down and Heart Out are 2 of like the most underrated songs.
So good. So good. Is this better than I Like It When You Sleep? Because here's the thing.
2 schools of thought.
The 2 schools of thought, yes.
I think the highs on this album are higher than the highs on that album, but that album has more songs that if I were to do a binary, if I were to Francesco win-loss it, I'd say that album probably has more songs that I'd say yes.
I am the exact opposite. I think the peaks on I Like It When You Sleep are higher than the peaks here for the most part. Maybe if you're too shy, let me know. It's an upper echelon 1975 song across all 4 albums. Cracks the top 10 easily, maybe even cracks the top 5. It could. The peaks on I Like It When You Sleep, though, the sound, She's American, songs like that. Change of Heart is a huge peak on that album. It has wicked high peaks, but there are so many skippable tracks on I Like It When You Sleep. Like Loving Someone, I never cared for that song. Somebody Else is okay. I think that song's vastly overrated. There are some very skippable songs on that second album. So I think Knee Jerk Reaction, maybe Talk to Me in a Month, but Knee Jerk Reaction, I think I put this Notes on a Conditional Form. I think I put that 3, and I would put I Like It When You Sleep at 4. Nothing. I like It When You Sleep.
Same.
Yeah,
I have the same 1 through 4. I think. I got.
I like It When You Sleep. I think it's a very good album. Again, the peaks are they're pound for pound. The peak of the album goes with any peak of their 4 albums to date. I just don't think it's consistent.
Right. So, all right. Yeah. So that's about time.
Would you have that same top 4? Is that your exact listing?
That's my. I said it over you there, but your audio probably dominated the stream. Yes, I have the same 4. It's sort of it almost might be like a 3A 3B situation down there though, and it would just take some more time, maybe some listening to both. I've always been kind of down on that second album though. Like even like the songs that are like that people consider the great songs in them, like I've always felt were kind of overrated. Like I never was like obsessed with like the sound or She's American. I think She's American I think it comes out great in the first 5 seconds, and then I get pretty low on the on if there's too much repetition almost, but it's not like unique repetition in a way, if that counts. I don't know.
Paris is a good song. I don't like This Must Be My Dream. She Lays Down is whatever. Ugh I love Ugh. Love Me is good. Love Me's not amazing. Love Me's better on their live album. Like if I'm going to listen to Love Me, I want to listen to it on that live album that they recorded in England. I forget where they're in England. Ugh's a great song. If I Believe You, I skip that song all the time. Ballad of Me and My Brain is, it sounds like, I don't know. I'm not huge on that song myself. Somebody Else, they're like 30 better 1975 songs than that. That song, it might be their most overrated song. Because at least Chocolate's so good,
So the verdict: Notes on Conditional Form, pretty good out of 10. Pretty good out of 11. Excuse me.
I'm trying to do the math quickly just to see if it kind of aligns with what I'm doing on the back scale. You know what I mean? I'm trying to exact quick maths. All right, so a 7.8 out of 11 is too low from what I would give it. So maybe an 8.3 out of an 11 would be my final rating. Yes, I'll give it an 8.3 out of an 11, which puts it roughly out of 75. It's calling it a C is a little bit harsh, but if it was school, I would have given it a C. But when I say it out loud, I give this album a C. It doesn't flow well.
You know what? To the C students, you too can be president.
You teach a boy or girl how to read, he or she will pass a literacy test. No, this is it's a solid 7 out of 10, which means it's to quote Anthony Fantano, I'm feeling a light. I'm feeling a light 8 on this transition.
There we go. And another recurring bit, us not knowing how to end a podcast. So we will come back next week and talk about something, right?
Well, we will come back into your ears right now with an episode from last week. So we're actually going back in time on the astral plane. You don't know what the astral plane is, my friend. Actually, you might. But you, person who is listening right now to the podcast, you'll be going back in time while also going forward in time because time's arrow keeps marching, if you've ever seen BoJack Horseman. So multiple different time travels within one podcast is actually a callback to the 2015, so I can't even say it with a straight face.
I'm dropping it.
Part 2.
Whoops.